So building a business you actually enjoy is the name of the series, and I'm very passionate about helping other agents to grow their business. So if you're tired of chasing the next deal and you'd rather build a business that gets stronger every year, then subscribe, because that's exactly what this series is about. So building a business you actually enjoy is the name of the series, and I'm very passionate about helping other agents to grow their business. I think it comes from starting at ground zero and having to figure it out. We were in a place financially in our life at that time where time was of the essence to get going, and I have a strong work ethic. So I simply got up every day and did something to help move my business forward. And I did it the hard way. There wasn't a lot of education back then. There was definitely no social media back then. There was really nobody to learn from other than the other peers in my office. And we were all kind of at the same stage in our career. So it was a failing forward experience for me for at least the first 5 to 7 years of my career. Like, I was writing contracts when nobody really taught me how to write a contract. I didn't know what a database was. I didn't know what a sphere of influence was. When I think about teaching and helping other people, it's like, what do I do on a day-to-day basis in its most basic sense that's helped me to grow the business that I have today? Why most agents stay stuck and it's not what you think is the first topic. With so much bombarding us as entrepreneurs and as self-employed, nobody tells you what to do. Nobody's instructing you what to do with your time every day, what time to come in the office every day. Nobody's holding you accountable to anything. And with so much information available, it's a fight to kind of fight off that shiny object. Oh, well, maybe I should be doing this because I heard this agent sells 100 houses a year and this is what he focuses on. Or I saw somebody and this is what they do, so maybe I should buy into that. Like, it's a constant battle to keep out the noise. And it fundamentally always comes back to the same basics, in my opinion. And I like to help people know that there isn't a shiny object. It's not because they're not doing X or Y or Z. It really is about like shutting all of that out, sitting down every day and taking care of the basic principles and foundation of your business. And that's how it grows. It's to be like, hey, it's not buying into Zillow leads. Hey, it's not buying a really amazing website. Because if you're not doing the basics, none of that even matters. And I've spent a lot of money over the years on random ideas like that. And everything's thousands of dollars, right? But you think it's going to be the solution to your pain. That's not the answer, no matter how much money you spend on it. It really comes down to getting up every day and working on relationships and keeping track of people. That would pay off for years and years to come. And by the time I figured that out, I was kind of burned out from doing next. Where's the next deal coming from? And I gave away a lot of my time. So it was literally like throwing spaghetti at the wall with my time and money. And I did that for years and years because I didn't know any other way. So most agents don't have a lead problem. They have a business model problem. They've built a business that requires them to get up every single day, every Monday, and start all over again. I know because I spent years doing exactly that. I wasn't even creating a business. I was just doing a job. And every day, not just every Monday, every single day, it was, well, what do I do today? Like, literally, what do I do today? I'd get up, I'd go to my office, I'd sit down and be like, what do I do? That was for the first few years. What do I do today? Who should I be talking to? Where should I be putting my time? And I just repeated that year after year after year. And I burned out a lot because of that. Because when you're reinventing yourself and reinventing your business every single day, that takes a lot of mental energy. So it's not that we don't have enough leads, it's that we are not creating a business model that helps them to perpetuate and create a business from that, as opposed to reinventing the wheel every single day because we don't really have a plan or an actual business, we just have a job. So I've been selling real estate for nearly 2 decades, which is kind of alarming. I've lived through multiple markets. Obviously, starting in 2009, the foreclosure market was at its peak and people were paying to get themselves out of their houses. I've made almost every mistake you can make. Not afraid to admit that. And eventually I realized something. Success wasn't about doing more because I already felt capped out with what I was doing. It was about doing it differently. Agents believe that they need more leads. I need to buy into Zillow. I need to do more open houses. I need a bigger, more expensive CRM. I need better scripts. I need something that somebody else has that they're succeeding with that I don't have, because otherwise I'd be successful. And none of those things are necessarily wrong. It's just they're not really the first problem. So the real problem is what I call the 4 traps. Number 1, we're busy instead of productive. I know agents that literally work 40 hours a week and don't have a single appointment, don't show a single house. They just commit to doing things that make themselves feel busy so they can say that they're busy, but they're busy doing non-income producing activities. Trap number 2, transactions instead of relationships, which is where I started in business. Every closing becomes the finish line. Let's just get this closed and I've succeeded. And every closing should become the beginning. I tell my clients at closing, as we're walking out of the closing office, I'm like, hey, congratulations. And by the way, this is just the beginning. Because it really that should be the beginning. Getting them the house, going through the 30, 40-day process, closing the deal, that's where your relationship really, really starts. Before that, we're doing our job and we're doing it well. But the real relationship and the real beginning starts as soon as the house closes, and how you nurture that relationship going forward to get return business, repeat business, and referrals. Trap number 3, constant learning. This is one of my favorites. I call it overtraining. I heard the term once, professional learner. And I was like, that's actually a really good description of somebody who consistently attends classes. And because they're attending classes and they're attending educational seminars and they're on Zoom calls and they're listening in and they're downloading information, that they tell themselves that they're busy, which they are. But I do believe, you can, especially as a newer agent, you can get sucked into being a professional learner because you think, well, they're telling me I need to go all these things in order to be a good agent, so I'm going to go to all these things. And in the meantime, you're actually not building a business. Sure, you're educating yourself, and everybody should educate themselves to a certain point. But I do believe there is such a thing as overeducation, especially if your business isn't where you want it to be. You need to pull back on that and actually focus on doing the activities. So people consume content all day and they very rarely execute what really needs to get done. So don't become a professional learner. Trap number 4, short-term thinking. Everything is about this month's paycheck. Well, what do I have lined up for this month? Let me get that closed and I'll have enough to pay my mortgage or my bills or my car payment. And nothing is about 5 years from now. Like, what do you really want your business to look like in 5 years? What do you want it to look like in a year's time? Wouldn't it be amazing to have the confidence to know that what you're doing now is setting the stage for next year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? Like, let's stop looking at like what's right in front of us and the fact that we can pay this month's bills, but what can we do with what we're already doing this month to make sure that this business continues for the next foreseeable future? So there was a time when I thought that being a successful agent meant that I was working 7 days a week. It's almost like celebrated in our culture of real estate that the busier you are and the less days off you take, gosh, well, they must be really good because they haven't had a day off in like 3 months. And I legitimately remember back when I was very early in my career, probably year 2 or 3, I was gone from my house for most of the summer. I was very buyer heavy. And back then there wasn't any Zillow or anything like that. So buyers didn't eliminate houses. They wanted to see 10, 12 houses in the same day. And obviously they want to see them on a weekend. So during the week I was busy with business stuff and trying to create business. Then a weekend I was out showing buyers. And I remember waking up one day and being like, I don't think I've had a day off in 3 months. Now I was younger, so I didn't feel it as much. But I was like, oh gosh, but that must mean I'm really busy. And I'd go to work and I'd tell the other agents, yeah, when was your last day off? Oh, I haven't had a day off in Friday. Oh, me neither. And like, look how busy you are. It's like a badge of honor to be so busy that you don't have time for your kids, your life, to go on vacation or do anything that you enjoy. And that's not freedom. That's not being self-employed to create a life that you want to live. That's just simply being a slave to your job. And self-imposed as well, because we have all the freedom in the world not to do that. I just think that we think that's how it should be because nobody's telling us what not to do, until you realize one day you had no quality of life and you haven't seen your kids in 3 months. And so I woke up that day and I was like, there has to be something different to this. And is this really what real estate is? Or is this just what real estate is, what we think it is, or what we perceive it should be? Because there's like no borders, right? There's no boundaries around what we do. Clients text us at 10 o'clock at night. Oh, we should respond. Clients want to see something at 5 o'clock on a Sunday when you're supposed to be at Sunday dinner. We feel obligated to follow through with that. And it took me a long time to create boundaries around my calendar calendar and to not give and give and give, because if I'm giving everything to my business, I have nothing left for my family, and even more importantly, I have nothing left for myself. I was just building another job, and every day I had to get up and start another job because nobody taught me how to build a business, and that took a long time to really give myself permission to not have to work 7 days a week. Started with respecting myself, and then when you start working with a database and people that respect you, they respect your boundaries too. So it's kind of a win-win-win. And all of a sudden you find yourself doing a great business, but with some boundaries around your time. So you get to have a life and do the things that you enjoy, as well as run a successful business. So this series is going to show you a different way. Pillar number 1, relationships. Like, your database becomes your business. You don't have a business and your database. Your database is the foundation of your business. Pillar number 2, systems. Everything repeatable gets documented and repeated, because without maybe realizing it, you're probably doing a lot of the same things every day, but then we also don't feel like we have any direction. And a system is not a scary word. A lot of people shy away from that. It's not some complicated online spreadsheet. It can literally just be even in your head or something basically written down of, when I do a small client event, I do step 1, 2, 3, and 4. Or for birthdays, for my client birthdays, I do step 1, 2, and 3. Like, that's a system. And when you repeat those, you start to repeat business, and that's how you get into a cycle where you don't have to start fresh every single day. Visibility is pillar number 3. Visibility breeds trust. How do you stay visible with your clients? How do you stay visible with your community? Pillar number 4 is consistency. Small actions repeated for years. This is where we talk about compound effects, and this is a reoccurring theme in my business, is if you do something small and you do it consistently, eventually the results are going to show up. Now, when I used to have a team, and when the people used to join my team, I would introduce them to some of the very simple things that I would do on a daily basis. And they would kind of look at me because I think they expected it to be something super fancy. And I'm like, hey, let's get in the office every morning and write 5 note cards. And they'd be like, but I want to go get business. And I'm like, yes, business will come if you repeatedly touch base and stay visible with your clients. And it's not exciting, but it is reliable. So if you currently don't have a database or any kind of system in your business, and you're waking up on a daily basis, Monday through Friday, and you're wondering what you should be doing next, let's do this. Write down on a piece of paper, doesn't need to be fancy, every client that you've ever helped. Could be 3, could be 23, you could have 4 years worth of clients. Write down every client you've ever helped. Don't worry about a CRM if you don't have one. A lot of agents don't. Just make the list, and next time we're going to show you what to do with it. Start simple, and I promise you, with repeatable actions, it is going to move your business forward. So if you're tired of chasing the next deal and you'd rather build a business that gets stronger every year, then subscribe, because that's exactly what this series is about. I'm Lindsay Jones, your Richmond Realtor, and I hope this helped.